no picture, no name, no voice. I really enjoy the conversation.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
I heard Rick. I heard Rick.
Is anyone else out there? Shabbat shalom.
This is more better. So lovely. I was just commenting this afternoon to someone that beautifully, it seems like no matter how hot it is, by 6:10 out here, it's just lovely every week out here on the patio. A special welcome to everybody who's not here with us on the patio, but joining us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. For those of us who are here, take just a second to double check that your cell phones are turned off. Not on silent, not on vibrate, but just powered all the way off so we can all sit and enjoy this beautiful evening together as we begin on page 10 with the words of Hine Matov.
Hine Matov Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. הנה מה טוב שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב שבת אחים גם נחת. הנה מה טוב שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. Ya la 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 la. Ine mato, ine mato. Ya la 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 la. Ine mato manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Ine mato manayim shevet achim gam yachad.
We welcome Shabbat with Shabbat Light with the lighting of our Shabbat candles on page 2 and 3. And it's our pleasure to invite our B'nai Mitzvah and their families for tomorrow morning. Mateo, bring your family up here. Walker.
Bring in the light of Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner להדליק נר של שבת.
So we'll turn now to page 24. We'll join together in Shalom Aleichem.
For some of you tonight who are new, it might be a new melody. But like the old ones, sounds like you've known it your whole life. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchi Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem L'Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchi Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruchuni L'Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchi Amelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidechem l'shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchi Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We'll turn back now to page 20 as we welcome the Sabbath bride with the acrostic poem Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi likrat Kahala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat Kahala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat Kahala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat Kahala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'tipur echad, Hishbi'anu el hamiyuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem u'tiveret v'litehila. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat Kahala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat Kahala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki im lekor habracha, Me'irosh mikedem l'sucha, Sov ma'aseh b'machshava tchila. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat Kahala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat Kahala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hit'oreri, hit'oreri, Ki ba'orei kumi ori, 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 shir daveri, Kevod Adonai alayich nigela. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat Kahala, פני שבת נקבלה, לחדדים לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. We rise and face the entrance to greet the Sabbath bride. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, חדדי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לחדדי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לחדדי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לחדדי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
We remain standing. Turn to page 26 for Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בעגלה, בעגלה, ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרמה ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי לקודשה. בריחו לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירן בעלמה, ואמרו אמן.
Turn the page for the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai המבורך, ברוך אדוני המבורך, המבורך לעולם ועד, המבורך, המבורך לעולם ועד.
Let's read together the English in the middle of page 31. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over?
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, Baruch Ata Adonai, Hamari Varavim. Join in Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam Bet Yisrael, Amcha Torah u'mitzvot u'kim u'mishpatim otanu limadta al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shogvenu v'kumenu nasiach b'chukecha al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shogvenu v'kumenu nasiach b'chukecha v'nismach v'divrei toratecha ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו לאורך ימינו, ובהם נהגה יומם ולילה. כי הם חיינו לאורך ימינו, ובהם נהגה יומם ולילה. כי הם חיינו לאורך ימינו, ובהם נהגה יומם ולילה. כי הם חיינו לאורך ימינו, ובהם נהגה יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל, שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
We can be seated.
Oh,
Except for
B'nai
you.
Mitzvah.
Walker. Come right over here.
Oh, wait.
You got yours? Man? Oh, good.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך. ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך, בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך, ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, Liloth lachem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
We all join together on page 37 in the English. Love your
Your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children, talk about them at work. Whether you are tired or you are rested, let them guide the work of your hands.
Do not
Put them
dim
in
your
the forefront
forehead
of your
with
vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I let you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God.
We'll turn now to page 40 for our ancient song of freedom, Micha Mocha.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורתי עלות, אוסף אל, מלכותך ראו בניך, תוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, מלכותך ראו בניך, תוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, יאי לי 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 לי. Adonai Imloch Le'olam, Le'olam Va'ed. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Adonai et Yaakov ugalo miyad chazak mimenu Baruch ata Adonai Ga'al Yisrael.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 We join in Vishamra, page 44. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit ha'olam Shamru. בני ישראל אותי לעולם ושמרו. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים, את השמיים, ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל. וביום השביעי שבת, שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות הברית עולם.
Turn now to page 46. We'll rise for the Amidah. We'll invite our B'nai Mitzvah back up to the Bima to lead us.
Adonai Sefatai Tiftach Ufi Yagi Tehilatecha Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Ve'Elohei Avotenu Ve'imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר השדה אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה, רב להושיע, מוריד אתה, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך באו גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומקיים, ומצמיע ישועך, למען אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל.
We continue with the remainder of our Amidah silently through page 62, either with the words on the pages of the prayer book or the words of our hearts.
We turn now
Be seated.
to our prayer for peace on page 60. Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Ta'asim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Ta'asim Le'olam. Ki atah hu melech adon b'chol hashalom. Ki atah hu melech adon b'chol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Ta'asim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Ta'asim Le'olam. V'tov enecha levarech et amcha Yisrael ve'et kol yoshvei tel
we take a moment amidst our joy and our celebration on the Shabbat to think of loved ones, family members, members of our community who are in need of healing, in need of wholeness. And in just a moment, in the middle of page 253, we'll offer a Misha Berach, a prayer of healing for them. So if you're thinking of someone tonight, if you're carrying the name with you of someone tonight who could use a bit of wholeness, a bit of healing, I invite you to rise at this time. And as my eyes meet yours, share that name aloud. For those who are with us virtually, you can add that name into the chat.
Middle of page 253. Mi sheberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu kor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. After 7 months without, I finally found a new assistant to hire recently. And I was giving Selena, which is her name, a tour of the Glazer campus earlier this week, showing her the sanctuary, showing her the murals, showing her Pine Nest Auditorium, the Audrey Erma's Pavilion, the Car Center, on and on and on. And it struck me that the temple is 160 years old this year. 160 years old. And sometimes I like to imagine what it might have been like to be around in 1862 when Los Angeles was just a little stop out in the desert. Or be around in 1929 when those 25-foot tall teak wood doors of the sanctuary opened onto Wilshire Boulevard for the very first time. So some of you, many of you might know that I have a bit of a nostalgia for the past, for the romance of it all, or so I imagine. I commented to Ashley recently that despite having never been on a cruise ship and suffering from severe seasickness no matter how many pills or patches I take, that I think that I would have loved to have been able to set sail on the Titanic. Imagining the glamour of it all, tailcoats at dinner, cognac, cigars, the whole thing. And she simply looked at me and responded, I agree, except for the iceberg and the whole sinking part of the story. It's so easy when looking at the past to let nostalgia or romance obscure reality. My father grew up in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and would often tell me as a small child in Los Angeles that he wished that he could raise me in Spartanburg. And it wasn't until years later, when visiting with him, that he realized and shared that he didn't want to raise me in Spartanburg so much as he wanted to raise me in Spartanburg in the 1950s. And our ancestors were no different. Traipsing through the desert, thinking to themselves of days gone by, they think about how much better life was in Egypt. Except it wasn't. Not even close. Maybe not an iceberg, maybe not the frigid North Atlantic, just the whole Pharaoh, slavery, muck pits kind of thing. Human nature is to look at the past through rose-colored glasses, which perhaps is why the Torah portion this week warns us against that exact thing. After you have entered the land that the eternal your God has assigned you, the Torah tells us, and you take possession of it, and you've settled it, you must not go back. You must not go back that way again. We cannot go back. We cannot dwell in the past. It's all about the future. Many of you have probably heard me quote many times one of my favorite quotes by the actress Doris Roberts in her memoir, who says that you can look to the past, just don't stare. You can look to the past, just don't stare. This is the first Shabbat of the month of Elul, the month immediately preceding the High Holy Days, a month of reflection, contemplation, introspection, a month in which we're meant to take stock of the year that was, take stock of ourselves, think about the past. And so it would seem that maybe Elul really is all about the past. But the truth is, it's really all about the future. It's less about who we were this past year and more about who we want to be in the year ahead. This month of Elul, this month of preparation, is really all about the future, about our aspirations for the new year, because, as the Torah reminds us this week, we cannot go back, only forward into, hopefully, a beautiful and bright future. Shabbat Shalom. Just a few brief announcements before we conclude this evening. So part of that whole Elul thing means that Rosh Hashanah is just around the corner, and my anxiety increases every day. What were we doing yesterday, Cantor Gurney, going through High Holy Day sermon drafts? Full disclosure, I did not have a draft yet to share. It's okay. Stan's almost done writing it for me. But all joking aside, make sure you're checking your email for High Holy Day Guide went out this week. Registration for tickets. Our tickets are e-tickets this year, email, no paper tickets. Make sure you sign up and register for that. So, I think in so many ways this year, maybe more than any other year, certainly in recent times, but ever, just the fact of and the idea of being able to be together, it's going to be amazing. Special thank you to all of our musicians tonight.
J.J. Ross, the cool guy in the back. Leo Shalyapov on those woodwind instruments. Hope Easton, I always like to call it the Star Trek cello. That's beautiful. It sounded great. Yeah. Okay, good. Good. Bill, and what? Oh, okay. Cool. Should have like little sprinkly lights on it. Bill Beck at the keyboard.
Thank you all so much. So beautiful. With that, we'll turn to page 282. Page 282, the bottom of the page, and we'll rise for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
We can be seated. Turn our thoughts now to sacred moments of memory, moments of Kaddish, as we recall loved ones, family members who are no longer with us. If you're here tonight to say Kaddish for a loved one, we ask that you rise at this time. We begin by thinking of those for whom we're in a period of shloshim, those who have died during these past 30 days. As we call to mind Herma Altshul, Parviz Danielpour, Moshe Ben Eliyahu, Yvette Fisher, Theodore Johnson, Ellen Kalman, Shirley Coton, Pearl Loderman, Bobby Pearson, and Chai Huifan. We add to their names the names of those whose yahrzeits occurred during this past week: Marjorie Ansell, George Ansell, Ida Applebaum, Ibrahim Arghi, Rita Beloit, June Blumkin, Arthur Bogia, Linda Bram, Sanford Brandt, Joel Brooks, Mildred Chanis, Ellen Cohn, Milton Cole, Sid Coleman, Douglas Delaney, Ida Deschelle, Ruth Eben, Michael Eisner, Shelley Elledson, Bart Feldmar, Robert Friedman, Edna Freeling, Hyman Gartzman, Harold Gelman, Barry Gold, Zev Goldfarb, Harry Goldstein, Edward Goldstein, Belle Gomberg, Sophie Greenberg, Richard Herlick, Ronald Hirschhorn, Sidney Ermis, Sybil Israel, Dale Cass, Bella Kaufman, Minnie Kay, Patty Kelrick, Margot Lansing, Beatrice Lawrence, Edith Levison, Isidore Lieberman, Nan McGoffin, Rose Markowitz, Michael Nettie, Ida Mayerson, Mel Michaels, Sarah Miller, Faye Nieberg, Mark Narodsky, Monray Perlsky, Ronald Rubin, Davida Rishkal, Lisa Rosen, Robert Rosenblum, Jane Rothschild-Mayer, Miriam Rothstein, Zelda Rubin, Philip Ruvelson, Ethel Ruvelson, Rose Saperstein, Gloria Schall, Albert Schindelkraut, Sam Schwartz, Yuli Scheinberg, Anna Shapilsky, Erwin Seagal, Saul Solar, Florence Solomon, Bobby Solomon, Scott Elliott Schraberg, David Steiner, Hyman Tannen, Bennett Wolf, and Ida Zevitz. If there are names to add or a name that I've mispronounced, please feel free to add it at this time. We also think of those to whom we are grateful but do not know, those who have fallen defending the flags of the United States of America, the State of Israel, all the innocent victims of senseless terrorism and violence all over the world, and everyone who has no one to say Kaddish for them. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories always be for a blessing. The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 294. We rise. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
בעלמא דברה חילותי וימליך מלכותי. בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בעגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומן ויתנשא. יתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה. תושבחתה ונחמתה. תאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
We turn to page 358. 358. During the month of Elul, each and every day, we recite the Psalm 27. And you'll find it at the top of that page. One thing that we ask of God, to dwell in God's house all the days of our lives and to gaze upon the beauty of God and to frequent God's temple. Achat sha'alti me'et Adonai בבית אדוני כל ימי חיי אחת שאלתי מאת אדוני אותו בבית אדוני כל ימי חיי לחזות בנועם 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 אדוני לחזות בנועם לחזות בנועם בנועם ולבקר
Cantor John Guest. It's customary to blow the shofar, to listen, to hear the shofar being blown during the month of Elul as a way to awaken ourselves, awaken our hearts to begin and engage in this work of Cheshbon HaNefesh. Yashkoach. Special thanks to Cantor John Guest for blowing shofar tonight. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Please join us for Kiddush and Motzi.
Let's have everybody mitzvah families up
here.
here.
Oh, yes,
quickly.
right up here.
Come on, we'll do it
right up here. We'll do Kiddush and Motzi.
Come on up.
You're not done yet. Right over with Cantor Gurney here.
Come. Thank you. Come all the way over here. All right. Hold that. Hold that. I'll hold this. Are we ready?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu ושבת קודשה, באהבה וברצון, הננו זיכרון נעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תהילה למקראי קודש, זה ליציאת מצרים. והגענו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת, מרחמים, ושבת קודשך, באהבה וברצון, הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחדש השעת.
L'chaim. I'll take the microphone. Hold this challah. And I want your brother and sister to grab hold of that challah as well. Okay. You, with your sister, hold on to that challah. Now, this is an ancient ritual, dates back to the ancient temple in Jerusalem. It's called the sibling challah pull. And the winner inherits the family wealth. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Pull.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Big plans tonight?